What's up? I'm leaving work. I think we're gonna stop by Lowe's and get some wood to work on the coffee table a little bit. Not a lot of stuff. We're just gonna get probably an untreated 4x4, 8 feet long, do the legs, and then some 2x2, 2x4, something to do the little cross pieces that Mom wants. Have I mentioned that it feels absolutely amazing outside? It's like perfect weather. 60s in the morning, mid 70s, kind of middle of the day. It's awesome. I'm enjoying it. Alright, well, as you probably see back there, we got our wood for the coffee table. Quick little PSA, guys, always return your buggies. Don't just leave your buggies out in the middle of the parking lot. It's 2020's been crazy, lots of bad things. The least you can do is make it a little bit better by putting your buggy back where it goes. You know what I mean? Appreciate it. What's up, guys? We're back at the house. We're gonna get started on this coffee table. Got all the wood and stuff laid out over there on the driveway by the shed. I'm gonna go pull the saw out, get set up, and I'll see you guys over there in just a second. Alright, first things first, we're gonna check and see what the actual dimensions of the top end up being. Good rule that I learned from Steve Ramsey over at Woodworking for Mere Mortals is to always measure for your cuts off of your work pieces and not off of your plans, because if you always measure off of your plans for every piece, you have a 16th here and a 16th there, they add up. But if you measure off of the piece that something needs to line up with, it's always going to line up. So for example, this top is actually still pretty close to 20.5 inches, which is what it should have been. Yeah, looks like all the way down 20.5. So it would have worked out in this case. Sometimes it wouldn't have worked out though. If I would have, say, accidentally gone 1/8 too wide on this top, then whenever I came to do the cross sections for the end, I would have had a 1/16 of an inch overhang on both these ends. And even though that's not the end of the world, a 1/16 of an inch, it's enough to see and definitely enough to feel, and it would definitely show the quality of the work. So got that measured. That's 20.5. I'm going to go ahead. I don't think we'll need this because I think I'm just going to do a leg and a leg and not have any kind of cross pieces. But we'll go ahead and measure it anyway. Still, yeah, 46.5. So, all right. Well, now that we got those dimensions, let's go figure out what height she wants the coffee table to be, and then we'll go get the legs built, and I'll see you over there. Alright, so we actually moved here to the back porch because it started raining a little bit outside. I didn't want to get caught out there with my saw and camera and everything set up. So just moved to the back porch here. You can shoot all the sawdust that way and blow it off after, so we'll be good. But real quick, what made that easy to do was this mobile miter saw stand that I built. And this is absolutely great. Very good use of my time. I definitely recommend, if you've got a miter saw that just kind of floats around your garage or your shed or sits on the floor, look into building something like this. It takes one Saturday to throw it together. It's not that expensive, just a little bit of hardware, and you got these fold out arms that can support full 8-foot boards. It's a super great setup. One thing though, notice that gap there between the table of my miter saw and the wood. That's because when I built this, I leveled it out perfectly flat with that table with these two arms that extend out, but then I painted this, so that made both of these arms effectively like a 1/16 or an 1/8 inch taller, and that resulted in the arms being slightly taller than the table. It's not really a huge problem. It doesn't make enough of an angle for it to affect any of the rough cuts that I'm doing with it. And it's only a problem if one edge of the piece you're working with is on the table and the other edge is on one of the arms. Other than that, it's still perfectly fine because it's supported by both arms. But just another thing to be keeping in mind all the time. When you're building stuff, always remember that paint adds thickness, because that'll get you in trouble real quick with something that has much tighter tolerances than this. But let's get started. Alright, well, Mom decided she wanted a table about 18 or 19 inches tall. So since the tabletop is about 3/4 of an inch, I figured we'll just cut the legs to 18, and that'll make it right there in the middle of that 18 to 19 inch range. So we're going to go ahead and cut the 4x4s, which we'll be using for the legs, and then we'll start working on the cross bracing and the top and the bottom sections with these 2x3s. Alright, real quick, another good benefit to these little miter saw stations is these rails on the back right here. These are really useful when you're making repetitive cuts. So what you can do is you get your piece lined up here. I got my line here. I've checked, my saw line's up on the right side of it, and I've pushed my piece all the way up against this block of wood, which I've clamped to the rail. So now, without having to use a template piece to get the other 3 legs cut to the same length, I can instead cut this off, pull this block out, shove the remaining part of the 4x4 up against this block, and then cut again. And that's going to guarantee that all 4 of your legs are the exact same length without you having to measure each and every one and work on all of them specifically. So another benefit to that right there. Alright, as you can see, those are all 4 the exact same height. So that's what I was talking about. Using that block, I was able to get all those to be the exact same height without having to do anything more than one measurement and one cut. So that first cut I made, that set the length for the rest of them because I had that block right there. So really good tip, really useful. Saves you a lot of time and a lot of frustration trying to get legs the same length. Alright, so now we got our legs, we got to think about the cross sections that's going between them. So each pair of these legs will make up a set just like this, with those 2x3s coming across like this, support across the top and a support across the bottom. So we got to figure out those angles and those lengths real quick. Alright, so again I've got my stop block set up here. I'm going to go ahead and cut all 4 of these. That's really just an invaluable tool when you're making multiple cuts of the same length like this. Alright, I just tested the fit of these 13.5 inch spacers with the actual tabletop, and it looks great, perfectly flush on both sides. So we're going to go ahead and move ahead with that. Alright, so we're going to get started putting the legs together here. I'm using one of these Craig jigs. These are super valuable whenever you're putting together a bunch of right angle pieces. So these allow you to drill and utilize really repeatable pocket holes. So they've got bigger ones than this. They've got a whole station that you can buy that's like $150 or so, but just these little $20 ones do great. You have to do them one at a time, so it's a little less convenient, but it's much cheaper and does the same exact thing. So pretty easy. You just select your material thickness here. In this case, I don't quite have the right length screws. They're a little short, and since I'm going into the 4x4, I know I have plenty of meat on the back side for the screw to bite. So instead of using the 1.5 inch setting, I'm using this 3/4 inch setting. So that's going to give me a deeper hole here. It'll give a little less meat for the screw to hold on to right here, but it'll guarantee it gets into that 4x4 plenty. Alright, so now I've got this nice well finished piece of pine. I'm going to use a sort of a surface plate to get this cross piece and the 4x4s lined up really well, and then we'll work on getting them square with the bottom piece. Alright, there we go. As you can see, it made a nice flush mount there between those two, and very sturdy. I can't bend that at all, just with 2 screws. So these pocket holes are great, and they're the good thing, they're hidden So this will be the top of the table, and the side right here, those pocket screws are hidden, so that's another nice thing. Alright, so that one was actually kind of the easy part. The next part, which is taking and putting the supporting piece further up here, be a little more difficult to get held in place and screwed in. And the reason that another reason this is a little more difficult than just putting that bottom piece on. The bottom piece, all we were concerned about was getting the top edge of that flush with the top edge of these 4x4s, so the table will rest even on top of there. This one is responsible for getting the whole leg structure squared up. So we're going to have to play with it a little bit, and we might have to cut this down or shim it up on one side or the other. We'll see. I'm going to kind of get this held in place, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I actually just had a really great idea. I've got a ton of this 2x3 left lying around, so I made 2 spacers to fit in either side right there, and those will help to hold this piece up while I get it in place and get the screws started on. Alright guys, what's up? So we got partial of both the legs done. So we've got both the 4x4s are cut here, and the top and the bottom pieces for each of the legs is cut and put in. They're both square, they both sit great. I put the top one here and all the corners lined up, and it looks good. Getting kind of late and dark, as you can see, so I'm going to go ahead and clean things up, and we'll finish this structurally. Hopefully we'll finish it tomorrow. But I guess I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. Alright guys, I hope you found that interesting. If you have any questions about anything I was using or how I was doing stuff, please let me know. Comment section below, and I'll get back to you. I'll answer any kind of questions you got. If you saw anything you liked or learned anything, hit the like button for me. I'm trying to grow this channel and get a lot more people in here. If you want to see more of this, I'll be doing this all week, working on this table, so come back. I'll have more videos later on. And if you want to just see more of what I do, consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. You know, like I said, I'm trying to grow this channel here, and if you have any suggestions for me or anything, let me know that too, because I really just want to make this something successful and be able to share all the crazy fun stuff we do with you guys. So until next time, peace.